Hi, and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy Tuesday evening to join me. I really do appreciate that. For all of what it's worth, it's Taco Tuesday, and if you've been, a fan of the show and or a subscriber and or just a lovely, very much wanted, stalker of any kind, then you'd know that that's something that I typically wish, on Tuesdays is like a happy Taco Tuesday or whatever. And in fact, I made this whole video one time about how thoroughly I enjoyed tacos, and how I just was a super pro advocate for the consumption of tacos. Any day of the week, tacos are good, you feel me? And it may be a stereotype, yes, but it's absolutely true. My Hispanic self has incorporated and, in fact, indoctrinated, and maybe it's some would argue brainwashed my household into having tacos at least 3 times a week. I mean, it's we eat a lot of tacos, no cap. Anyways, tonight I want to talk about a couple of different things. I want to talk about the dead internet theory, and I also want to talk about this new rabbit hole that I'll be diving right into, which is Garth Brooks might be a person that's unalived a lot of people. And I gotta tell you, I was trying to look up some Garth Brooks songs before this, just a few minutes ago, and Garth Brooks has got to be like the most unpopular musician of all time, right? Like, the guy's a household name, but if anything, he's got 3 bangers, you feel me? I mean, literally, I try to sing and stuff, you feel me? And when I'm doing vocal exercises, I'll look for different kinds of songs and stuff from artists, to practice the range. And this is what I tell myself at the very least, but that's what goes down, you feel me? And it's sort of like he's got a huge catalog of music that no one's heard since he released it, which is around 40 years ago or so. And so I remember growing up and seeing all the Garth Brooks albums. My mom was a huge fan, and that was a true thing. And so I'd always see the CDs everywhere, like the checkered shirts and the checkered background, and then the whole Chris Gaines thing. And then this entire time, right, I'm just telling myself that, like, yeah, Thunder Rolls, Standing Outside the Fire, The River, The Chair, there are The Dance. There's a few good songs by Garth Brooks, but like That Summer. But he doesn't have like a ton of good songs, like if I sat here trying to tell you all of my favorite Drake CDs, songs, or songs from CDs, different ones or whatever, I'd be here forever, you feel me? Like, the dude's been around a long time and has a lot of bangers, you feel me? Moreover, there's been different artists who've been around longer than your parents have, 60, 70 years in some instances, still have fans, still sell music, and so all I'm saying is that, like, I think I have definitely forgot what I was talking about, but that's okay, because that's what this show's all about. I did just smoke a little bit, for sure, and that is while I'm in character, and so you gotta forgive me as I try to remember how to talk and stuff. Anyways, I know that the dead internet theory is something that, oh yeah, Garth Brooks. Oh yeah, we're not getting into that one yet, but interesting stuff, right? Link in the description below so that you guys know what I'm talking about in case you've never heard of it. And also, shout out to the fact that he is the most unpopular person ever. Just because, again, like, a handful of songs that are good, but not really an entire catalog to be like a household superstar name, and that's all that I'm saying. And the dead internet theory. So, since about 2015, you feel me, most normal people, right? I mean, like, it's not like we all don't have smartphones or, whatever. Definitely a term you will never hear an alpha or a Zer say, but if you know, that, like, cell phones are a big part of all of our lives, right? Everybody essentially has one. I mean, I dare say that the people who need them the most and who need to use them the most have the least access to them. And moreover, it's important to note that there are still millions of people around the surface of this planet that we know of that don't have any access to a reliable internet service provider. And so it's not just they don't have the infrastructure for the internet, they don't even have like the cell phones and stuff that we have, and that are very common mostly around all of the developed world, you feel me? And I mean, even in what you'd say are underdeveloped nations and or countries such as North Korea, take a look at their phone. It's an interesting one. And shout out to Hawaii or whatever, you know? I mean, China, from my understanding, is a communist country, and it engages in some very efficient capitalism. So, shout out to China. You know, I mean, making money all over the world, and not really sure what anyone ever does with the money that they make. I know that the Communist Party will say they provide a good standard of living for all of their people. And while I maintain the premise that China is lying about their aggregate population, moreover, their inability to take care of every person in their society, which is more reflective of a kind of communism I'm familiar with, you know, not so much the communism that is common and good for most people. And anyone else that's not Asian and or Chinese in specific, more specific in the province of which like the Uyghurs people are, and that they're currently that whole re-education thing going on there, very similar to what used to be known as concentration camps. But you know, fact check me. I encourage you to do that. Again, the dead internet theory goes back, you know, like maybe 10 years now or so. And essentially what it says is that all the traffic on the internet is basically bots. I had brought up the idea or the fact, right, conceptually, that all of us, or most of us, a good majority of us have access to the internet, but like most of us don't use it. You feel me? I mean, you would be like misleading yourself if you said that in the time that you get home from work and you go to sleep and you have your children and your family to deal with and other things, you know, that like you're surfing the web or whatever, right? Be that desktop. I mean, and if you are, it's most likely going to be on a handful of websites that we all go to, you know? And these include, but are not limited to, things like the adult library of websites that are the most visited websites in all of trafficked and recorded internet history, right? I mean, essentially what the internet was born for, right? Other than boring information sharing and stuff, also to file share adult sensitive materials, right? And so anyways, we visit these sites, right? Again, ask the normal person. They're probably on Facebook, IG, Snapchat, WhatsApp, maybe X, probably TikTok, you feel me? But again, there isn't really a lot of range, you feel me? I mean, you may be thinking that you're unique because you have some like app on your phone, or it's jail blocked or whatever. You know, it's just sort of like, or even with the proxy server, you feel me, and all these different types of things, it's like just more money that you gotta pay to do nothing, essentially. And so going back to the dead internet theory, it's definitely dead, you know, if it could be described as such in a way, you know, because it's clearly that way. Like link in the description below to an upper echelon video I was watching when my roommate and I were eating dinner, you feel me? And he touched on the fact that, like, there's accounts that are just entirely generated from bots. And here's the thing, right, is that there's nothing wrong with a bunch of robots or bots, you know, talking amongst one another and sharing information. I mean, again, that is kind of the whole idea, right? I mean, it would be false, however, though, to say that, like, the internet and all of its traffic is in any way symbolic or reflects in any kind of accurate way the actual amount of human beings that are interacting with this interface, you know, on a constant basis in a variety of different ways. Again, just because my argument would be that even though there are a lot of people actively, you know, at one time sitting in any place on the internet, it's still going to be something that is very common to all of us and really not that unique. I mean, shout out to all the criminals out there who are surfing the deep dark web looking for things that I'm not sure. I'm not sure what one would go there for. I mean, there is the argument to be made that it's a good and safe place to actually share information and stuff like that. But I mean, if this guy knows about two girls in a cup, then I'm sure that anyone else with information about how to phrase certain words. And again, I'm literally just talking about knowing of two girls and a single cup. You feel me? So, like, let's not get crazy. Anyways, the dead internet is a thing, and it's kind of interesting because it's, like, throttled, I feel, right? That, like, the internet, it's gonna do what it does. It talks to itself, kind of like me, kind of like a content creator, right? You're just sitting here blabbing to themselves, talking about things. What's most important, though, is the impact that it can have, right? Just because at any given moment, there can be 10 million people on a stream or 500,000 people watching you mukbang your way out of a dinner evening that you didn't want to be at or something. You feel me? I mean, and that is essentially, I guess, like the cool thing about creativity and social and fine arts, especially now in the 21st century, right? Are those very basic things that no matter how much the internet is driven and governed by bots, the human being experience is just so much like it was 30 years ago, so much like it will be 30 years from now, so much it will, nothing will change the idea and or notion that human beings like simple things like cat videos, and friendly dog walks and just generally positive, nonsensical bullshit kinds of things, and that's creative. That has some intrinsic value, and we should be celebrating that. You feel me? I mean, shout out to AI, who can do anything and everything so much better, obviously, than we can, in a procedural kind of a way, But one thing that kind of intelligence will never have is the unique creativity that has brought you to this video, for example, Because, I mean, who else would be anywhere looking for any kind of content based on some dude talking to himself in terrible lighting in his room, I'm just saying, right? And I'm cool with that because, again, I thought it was cool 25 years ago, and in 25 years I'll still think it's cool. This is a form of artistic expression that I think is not just a fad, and in fact it's really the only thing, and it's the only place on the internet that still has any sort of human being input. You feel me? Our cat video. I mean, and that's like speaking on the fact that I love to watch AI generated cat videos, but one thing I've noticed about them is that once you've seen one, you've seen them all. And I think that's where AI falls short. You feel me? Is that you've seen it once, you've seen it all the time, and you're never really interested in seeing it again. Whereas my silly ass could watch cat videos for hours, from random strangers showing me their random ass cat on some random ass shit. I'm just saying, that's how I feel about it, you feel me? And I just want you guys to look into that whole Garth Brooks thing, because we don't have time to get into that right now, but I am about to, and yeah, so I'm about to sit right here, drink a cup of coffee, and listen to Sloan explain to me the conspiracy of Garth Brooks and the idea that he may in fact have hundreds of bodies that have mysteriously disappeared, all while in the unfortunate presence of him, I guess, if he didn't really do it, because it's damn, that's a lot, you feel me? That's a lot. That's sort of you only gotta be Garth Brooks to get away with something like that. Jesus Christ. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of character now. I hope that you guys are well, you feel me? And I hope that everything's going good in your life. I hope that you are maintaining a healthy and habitual desire to come back every day and watch me talk to myself. I really appreciate it, and I wish I could do more things to show that I appreciate you. I mean, maybe I could do something like the Island Boys and open up an OF account and just get crazy there, you feel me? Do actually some real, do my own little pumping, you know? And I mean little pumping in a way that is a verbiage of the artist and rapper known as Little Pump, who you can definitely find on OF. And not because I know, because, like, and hey, for the record, I'm a shameless dude, you feel me? I'm comfortable with myself, and if I at any moment in my life had any desire and or in reality the want to search and subscribe to Lil Pump on my OF page, then that would in fact be my right to do that, and I would have no shame in telling you guys that. It's just that's not the case. I just am laughing because I'm sure that even Lil Pump and the Island Boys are making so much more of a bag than this guy could ever make on a place like OF. So I'm just I'm just saying, right? But who knows? I mean, maybe there's a category for interesting looking middle-aged Hispanic men with unkept beards and an unrivaled and unparalleled attitude to do nothing in their life. I mean, Jesus. So yeah, anyways, seriously, what are you laughing at? You feel me? Like, you don't think if you could make yourself an OF page right now and stack up some bands, you wouldn't do it? I mean, the only problem is that everyone's on OF trying to stack up bands doing it, so you gotta be like a real unique individual to be success. But hey, I wish you success in anything and everything you want to do in your life. Always remember that. Just so long as it's literally, like, not violent and or like impedes on any other body's like way or lifestyle, you feel me? Like do what you will, you feel me? I mean, you're talking to a middle-aged guy who has no problem with bop houses. I mean, like, that's not the first time ever a group of promiscuous, sexually charged people have all lived together under the same house. I mean, just because people stream and roll the cameras and have their phones out now doesn't mean that there hasn't been that kind of a lifestyle, since lifestyle. And that's all that I'm saying, right? So shout out to all those people out there getting those bands, making that money, living their very comfortable lives, all while sharing it with a handful of other people who engage in the fine arts of sharing their bodies and their thoughts, right, to complete strangers. I mean, hey, again, I am a weird guy myself, you feel me? I mean, not everybody goes out of their way to talk to themselves as much as I do, which I think is a reflection of both some very healthy behavior, so much as it is some questionable kind of does he have main character syndrome? What's going on? Is he really an asshole? All these different things that I just love to troll people with, you feel me? At the end of the day, I'm always very clear as to my intentions and so forth. Always have been, I can't think of a time that I've ever, even attempted to be deceitful. Only because I'm sure it wouldn't get me very far, you feel me? Like, I'm sure of it. At least not IRL. But you put a camera on me, you give me a script. Hey, buddy, things might change. That's all that I'm saying, right? But yeah, so obviously a little bit of a charged attitude here, as I really am about to get into this rabbit hole of Garth Brooks and all these bodies that have turned up missing. I mean, again, just because it's like, Garth Brooks, really, out of all the people in the whole world, I did not think Garth Brooks would be the highway killer. I mean, I don't know who this guy is, but I tell you, I'm about to do some speculating myself, so I'm gonna get to that. I hope that you guys have a really good night, alright? Take care of yourselves, and thanks for watching my show, and that's all that I have for you tonight. It's been an increasingly difficult thing to do, staying fresh and keeping this kind of content going, you feel me? It's not an easy thing to do, and in fact, I think that's what the next video is going to touch on, right? Is the time-consuming and the very difficult task of content creating in and of itself, you feel me? It's an all-the-time thing, and it requires a lot of energy. So I'm happy that I'm feeling better, I guess that's kind of why I am so energetic now, too. You guys have a really good night. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time, alright? Bye!